I remember back in the day when I was working on the road, I found myself in Albuquerque, New Mexico in the summer, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know it's hot too.
I had some spare time, so the locals recommended the typical tourist attractions like the Paseo del Bosque Trail, which it was way too hot for, the Balloon Museum, which doesn't sound too appealing to me, or maybe a cruise down historic Route 66 to see the architecture and vintage hotels. I did a little bit of that, but I had a much better idea for my rented Chevy Cruze and I, a self-guided Breaking Bad filming location tour. At the time, the show was in its prime, earning multiple awards and commanding countless people, including me, to tune in weekly. I drove by the infamous car wash, strolled by Jesse and Jane's apartment, and of course, cruised by the White residence. No, there was no pizza stain on the roof. While stopping at Los Pollos Hermanos, Gus Fring's infamous chicken shack, I found it was really a Mexican restaurant called Twister's. It was pretty decent actually, and they had Breaking Bad memorabilia plastered all over the walls. That's where somebody told me about the local candy store who made the imitation Blue Sky meth for the series. It was actually just blue rock candy, and the shop, called the Candy Lady Shop, still sold small batches of it packaged cleverly in street Ziploc baggies. They were cheap and small, and so I wanted to take about 20 of them home with me to show people, but assumed they wouldn't make it through airport security. The next day, as I stood in line at the TSA with my meth stash tucked in my carry-on, I wondered, just how much does the TSA actually catch? TV prop drugs were one thing, but what about the real threats? It's a question that's lingered on Americans' minds since 2001, and Senators Mike Lee and Tommy Tuberville rekindled the argument with the recent push for the Abolish the TSA Act of 2025. The Republican senators and many everyday Americans say that, like the Department of Education, the Transportation Security Administration is a bloated expense with questionable results. But when it comes to keeping the skies safe, are Americans ready to get on board with such a proposal? Thanks for stopping by NPC Overrider, where we challenge mainstream source code to develop independent thought, one user story at a time. Let's go ahead and log into the NPC environment and check out the latest programming. Mainstream argument here says, we need the TSA. While some would be happy to see the TSA's departure in favor of private security, many find the agency a necessary step to ensure safety. Let's hear it from somebody on the ground.
Everything we do every day is very important as far as protecting the traveler in public. So therefore, every day I get up, I come to work, I feel good about it. When I get home at the end of the day, we did our job. My name is Roy Wright. I'm a TSA Viper Team member with the Washington Field Office.
Okay, here's the main points for this argument. Number 1, standardized security. Number 2, post 9/11 deterrence. Number 3, evolving threats. 4, public confidence. And 5, oversight and accountability. Number 1, standardized security. Every day in the United States, millions fly on thousands of planes between hundreds of airports using TSA. With so many threat opportunities, the TSA standardizes security by overseeing intelligence with teams called Visible Intermodal Prevention Response Teams, also known as Viper Teams, which include K-9 units, security inspectors, and federal air marshals. Countless private organizations operating simultaneously with varying standards would create security gaps. Number 2, post 9/11 deterrence. Airport security took a 180 after 9/11 as Americans demanded change. That change came in the form of uniformed physical presence and at security checkpoints providing a psychological and practical deterrent, making air travel less attractive to terrorists. Would you feel comfortable replacing government agents with mall cops? Point 3, evolving threats. TSA shares real-time intel across the network and employs the latest tech in explosives and weapons detection systems. Terrorist acts such as the underwear bomber who failed to detonate an explosive device mid-flight in 2009 proves there's still a high demand for standardized security. Also, the TSA handles more than just airports, providing private oil and gas pipeline owners and operators with cybersecurity measures and assisting with railway security. Point number 4, public confidence. When people fly, they want to see security without taking all day. Programs like Clear and PreCheck allow for quicker processing while maintaining security. When flyers see the same uniforms, equipment, and protocols between Miami and Anchorage, it puts travelers at ease. 5, oversight and accountability. Since TSA is a federal agency and not a private company, it must operate under strict government regulations and be subject to congressional oversight. Privatization between many companies would reduce transparency and accountability. As we know, private companies like to cut corners to save money, and in this case, by risking passenger safety. Alright, the rebuttal to this argument says, get rid of the TSA now. Private security addresses all these safety concerns and more. Let's check out this post from Senator Mike Lee, who says, "If you love bureaucracy, inefficiency, and being groped by federal agents, then you probably love the TSA. But if you don't like those things, and like me, you believe the Fourth Amendment should protect you from warrantless searches, then please support the effort to abolish the TSA." Main supporting points here say, number 1, ineffective threat detection, 2, constitutional concerns, 3, cost versus benefit, 4, private sector efficiency, and 5, airport experience. Number 1, ineffective threat detection. In 2015, the Department of Homeland Security probed the TSA to determine their competence level by deploying undercover federal agents known as red teams who attempted to sneak weapons or explosives through security checkpoints. The result? TSA failed to detect contraband 67 out of 70 times. That's a 95% failure rate. Although poorly managed, standardized security is still a concern, whether agents operate privately or publicly. That's why senators still plan to have federal control over private security, with the Office of Aviation Security Oversight included in the senator's proposal. Number 2, constitutional concerns. Randomly groping passengers is a disgusting violation of our Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable search and seizure. These agents, without suspicion, basically fondle everybody from children, unreal, to disabled folks, look at this, to the elderly, with one woman claiming they made her remove her adult diaper during a strip search. If the scanners or agents suspect someone might have something that could be a danger, then fine, take the appropriate measures. But this embarrassing public display isn't stopping another 9/11 style attack. Number 3, cost versus benefits. The TSA's proposed budget for FY24 was $10.4 billion, as in Bravo, up from $9.7 billion FY23. The TSA requested $11.8 billion for FY25. Each year the money increases, but does the public benefit increase as well? They use this money to employ about 58,000 employees, purchase scanning technology and touchless digital identification options, which is a lot of money for people with such little proven results. Number 4, private sector efficiency. Private airport security isn't a pie in the sky. Airports like San Francisco International, SeaTac, and DFW already use private screeners under TSA oversight. They have access to all the same training and screening technology as TSA does. These contractors working for profit must compete against other companies, which incentivizes them to perform above and beyond, unlike the TSA, which has a monopoly on the trade. Number 5, airport experience. Waiting in long lines is frustrating, even more so when you know how much we spend on the TSA for such abysmal competency. Privatizing security would allow airports to tailor security fluidly depending on the airport, passengers, and circumstances instead of applying a one-size-fits-all approach. While crime is part of the human condition and you'll see issues between public and private companies are motivated to address problems such as corruption and theft to ensure future contracts. After chucking my drink in the garbage, I placed my laptop back on the conveyor belt with a look similar to that of George W. Bush's face at Trump's inauguration. While shuffling through the body scanner, fully expecting to hear, "Hey, whose bag is this?" I was surprised to see my trusty Samsonite roll down the belt. I took my time putting my shoes back on and collecting my belongings. Nobody said a word. The TSA agent remained glued to the monitor like a child with a smartphone. At first I was concerned, but later relieved after reading on the TSA website that the agency doesn't actively seek out drugs, at least not small amounts. If they stumble across anything illicit, they'll notify law enforcement, but passenger volume is way too high for searching for weapons and drugs. Besides, I probably wasn't the first blue-eyed smuggler to pass through the ABQ airport. Edible meth aside, the TSA doesn't have an excellent track record. But we haven't had another 9/11 either. Yet dismantling the TSA doesn't mean abandoning security. The Republican senators seek to include the Office of Aviation Security Oversight in their proposal. But private or not, we want to see what good security does for air travel. It seems that right now, the TSA has taxpayers shelling out billions of dollars for little proven results. Sadly, we've seen much more disturbing behavior from the TSA than heroic acts. But what do you think? Is the TSA here to stay, or will Senators Lee and Tuberville be the ones who knock?
No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Schuyler. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
Well, that's going to do it for this version of NPC Overrider. I'm your lead engineer, Greg. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you want to help save the NPCs, please set the like button to true and share this with a friend who needs to have their source code challenged. If you have an idea for a future release, please open a ticket in the comments section. We'll get back to you ASAP. Also, please consider subscribing. We'd sure love to have you on our development team. But for now, we're going to shut down the office and grab a beer. Thanks again. Have a good one.